Hi, welcome to my workshop. My name's Darren and this is another 3D prints in the workshop. Got a few different items for you today. Something I don't normally say, but stick around till the end. I think a lot of you will find the final model very useful indeed. Now there's come a time when we've all edge jointed boards, right? And there's various different ways to clamp them. One of the big issues can be though, and I'm just going to use this MDF board to show you because it will exaggerate what I'm talking about and it will make it easier to see, and some of you will already know this anyway, but as you apply pressure to your boards, assume you've got your edge jointed boards in here, there is a tendency, here we go, for the whole lot to want to bow up, and you can see that's quite a bit of force there for pushing that upwards. Now I've done a few different things over the years to stop that bowing when edge jointing boards to make panels, one of which was to take a scrap of MDF, yes, it's all about MDF today, a scrap of MDF and coat it with packing tape. The packing tape stops the glue from sticking to it because quite often there will be glue squeeze out along your edges here. So you pop your piece of MDF in place and basically just clamp it down, and that prevents the boards from bowing up, and you do that at each joint. The problem I had with that, besides the fact that you've got to use a lot of clamps, these are scrap, right? And they look like scrap. And you see one lying on the floor, the first thing you do is sweep it up, chuck it out. So I was constantly making new ones. More recently, what I've been doing, and this works quite well, is I will take my boards that I'm gluing into the panel, put one of these silicone sheets over it, then a board through the center of that, and clamp either side of the board, and again that will stop the bow. That's a pretty good way, and that's my general go-to way, but not always convenient because I don't always have the clamping points where I need them to be. So I've made these clamping bridges. All right, now I didn't invent these, I don't think. I'm sure they've been around for ages. I've not seen them myself, but it's such an obvious idea. Surely I can't be the first, right? But the idea is quite simple. Just put one of those down over the joint and again clamp it in place, and that'll stop the bowing, and any glue squeeze out of course will be completely unaffected by this, which was better than this and the other silicone method, because what would happen then is any glue squeeze out would come up against a surface, either this or the silicone sheet, and pull in a little puddle there and be forced into a ring or a dot around the edges, which would be harder to clean up. Whereas this way, you just get a little bead that just sits there, stays there and dries, and you can scrape it off just before it fully hardens. Very easy. All right, now, that one might be a little bit big if you've got lots of joints close together. So, I've made some little ones as well. I didn't bother putting the little eyes in here. There's still 3 perimeters on the print, and I suggest you use 3 perimeters as well. And this one's got a very high infill. I think I did a 60% infill on this one, or these ones, to give them the extra strength. But same deal, you clamp them in place, they clamp down either side of the joint and stop the bowing. And because they're smaller, you can get them in closer together. That close together to be exact. One of my more recent woodworking projects has been a chest of drawers for my study. I've built all my furniture for my study and just needed an extra set of drawers there, and it had to match in with the rest of the furniture. But rather than go out and buy plastic drawer runners or something else, I actually 3D printed my own, and these are ideal. They're a perfect size, I think. Basically, this one's PLA. I ended up using PETG. I found that PETG was a little bit more wear resistant and seemed somehow more lubricated. I mean, I haven't sprayed them with anything or coated them with anything, but they do seem to glide a little bit better than PLA as well. So this has been a really handy, cheap way to make your own drawer runners. And again, I will pop these up on printables for you. But let's have a look at them. They've been in there for about 3 months now. You can see they're just screwed in place. They've been working really well, very strong. I've removed a couple of the drawers here so as you can actually see what I've done. So I've routed a channel in both of the drawers, slightly wider and slightly deeper than the door runners, and that way basically the whole lot's just resting on the top edge here when it's in there. but that's basically how it works. You can see here that they're working really well, very smooth, not sticking, and that's the same with all of the drawers. They're particularly cheap, and as I mentioned, I built this about 3 months ago. They're still going strong, and I expect they will do for years to come. Now, the next one is from a printables contributor who's actually been on the show before, Dan Mack. You might remember Dan previously gave us the little glue applicator for Festool dominoes, and that has come in very handy. Actually, so I've got dried glue on mine, so it has been used. What he's given us here, first off at least, is a way of cleaning your blades when they've got some caked on gunk on them and you need to let them sit for a while. Now, I think this one would be especially handy if you've got some problem teeth and you want to just soak an area, but of course you can do the whole blade as well. So the idea being is you put a little bit of cleaner in it. First of all, you open the little nozzle on the container. There you go. So we're going to put a little bit of cleaner in here. I'll just tilt that up so you can see it's in there. Like that. And then we can just simply sit our blade in and let it soak for a little while. Obviously, if you're doing the whole blade, you'll turn it every so often. Also from Dan Mack, we've got the Blum Movento under mount drawer glide gauge. Now, it's basically a story stick for helping you get exactly the right size front and rear panels you need for making drawers in 16mm MDF for those particular drawer slides, the Blum Movento. Now, I'm a very big fan of story sticks. I've been using them for years. My first story stick basically is quite literally just two sticks, two pieces of wood. This one here was the first one I ever owned, and basically I just bought these little Veritas attachments here and made my own little sticks, and it's an internal story stick, so you expand it to the size that you're measuring. So for example, if I had to cut a piece of timber that was an exact fit between here and here, I could measure it, but it would be, first of all, you'd be using a tape measure or whatever on the inside. It's always a bit tricky and a bit inaccurate to do that, but it would be much easier, and this one only just fits, mind. Hey, we just do this. Right, there we are. Lock it in place. We can then bring our story stick over to the table saw, in this case the miter saw, and line one end up with the kerf. Okay, so I'm just going to line one end up with the edge of the kerf. There we go, that's spot on. And then line, see if I can do this without getting in my own way. Right. Move the end stop up to the story stick, like so. And that is it. We don't care what the measurement is. That is the size we need, and we can cut however many pieces we want over and over again. And if we leave our story stick set, we can then do other things with it and come back and easily reset it as well. That's the joy of a story stick. Now, Dan's made a video to show you how to use this properly, which I'll show you in just a moment. But before we get to that, I just want to give you a quick run over. The whole thing uses T-track. As you can see here, I'll dismantle it for you, hang on. So you can see it's just simple T-track with your printed plastic parts and some screws. I've adapted mine so they can take some little hot insert threads. And there you go. So what this block does is this makes up for the width of your two drawer slides and the sides of your drawer. So you can subtract that from it, and what's left from here to here is the length of your front drawer panel. Here, let Dan tell you.
Okay, this is a gauge for installing Movento drawer slides. What you do once you have everything all flushed out is you set the gauge in there so that it's tight to both sides. And now I know the distance between the sides, and I can do the subtract 42 millimeters to get the width of my fronts and backs. Okay, let's see if I can one-hand this thing here. So if the overall width of my opening is like 320 millimeters. 320 minus 42. Actually, it's going to be 280 will be my measurement for the fronts and backs. So I guess that's actually 322. Okay, so to set my stop on my fence, what I do is I just hook on the edge here and then set my fence there. So I really don't even need to measure. I can just use the gauge. Now I got all my fronts and backs cut. And it's right there at 280, just like I needed. Okay, to figure out my drawer bottoms, instead of trying to measure and everything, I just use my gauge. I put these T pieces in, so it's tight on both ends. And then I'll just lock it down. As you can see, there's no play. Okay, I had to knock it apart to get it out of there. And I ended up doing the same thing for the other dimension of the drawer to get it locked in. Okay, now that I have my two gauges set, I can either measure these or I can just use them directly to set my stop to cut the bottom for the drawers. So here we're using the gauge to set up the fence. And with the gauge, I've confirmed that my distance is exactly this correct.
Okay, that brings us to the end of another one. As always, the links to the models will be in the description below. Have a great day, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.